we're still having some issues with where the low point of your arc is at impact. But I put a T to represent where the ball is. Now look where my divot is. So my lowest point of my arc is here, the deepest part of the divot.
It goes down and it goes pretty deep. Look at this. That's a cool looking divot. Keimer, good lead right there. See his left hand all the way to the ball before he releases. Hits the ball, then the divot.
So what I made sure of when I took this back is I stayed on my left side.
Oh.
Your arc, the low point of your arc will follow the center of your mass.
Okay.
If I move my mass here, like think of the swing arc as a giant hula hoop. And where the hula hoop is touching the ground is the lowest point. And if I move if I get back here, my hula hoop just slid, my low point went all the way back here. Then you try to say, well, I've got a downswing that's going to move my hula hoop back up again. So you're trying to train how to move your hula hoop back and forth and arrive at the right spot. Whereas my hula hoop just stays stationary.
No, you're rotating.
I'm rotating around my hula hoop without moving my hula hoop.
This is Adam Scott, and I've drawn a red line right where his right hip is. And in his backswing, he does not slide that hip past that red line. He just rotates that hip. And his first move on the downswing is to move the hips to the target. Now as we look at your swing with the red line on your right hip, you can see that you've slid your hips to the right while you were trying to turn them also a little bit. This is Adam Scott, and I'm going to show you how his impact position changes from his starting position. I've drawn red lines off the center of both ankles. He's fairly evenly balanced at the setup, but then at impact, you can see how much more weight goes over that left foot. You can watch that right knee driving into the left side. Watch how far his right hip moves away from the back red line. He's really driving his lower body to the left at impact. Also, his hands are going to be much more forward so that he has shaft lean. This allows him to hit the ball first. But also notice, even though you see a lot of movement with the lower body and the hips and the knees and the legs, his head is basically staying in the center between those two red lines. So it's all a lower body movement. Now we will flash back and forth between your starting position and impact position. And we really don't see much movement to the left. In fact, one of the things that we see, if you watch your shoulders, how they scrunch upwards, tighten up. You're almost pulling up and not swinging out. And that's what we wanted to work on right there. We're not really seeing a lot of swinging out and moving to the left side like we did with Adam. So that'll be something that we work on.
Okay, now I want the backswing to stay the same. I want you to have impact the same, but I want the follow through to be more finished. So you don't have to take that sudden stop post impact. You can kind of take it up. You can take your hands up higher, yeah. But really, we're still working on the backswing and loading the left side.
With your practice swing, you make a really nice extension with that right arm. One quick comment on the setup. On the left was your setup before we started making any adjustments and before we started doing any drills. The one on the right was when we were doing that impact drill where you were thinking about starting with a little bit more weight on your front foot. The drill is almost a pre-impact position, but it is a drill. The setup on the left is fine. I like that setup on the left for when you're ready to play full swing golf and you're not doing drills. So your natural golf swing needs to be with the setup that you see on the left. So I wanted to be clear that the setup you have on the right is for the drill, not for non-drill swings. This is Grant Wade on the right, who was selected by the TWU Biomechanics Lab to demonstrate the fundamentals of a good golf swing. We're going to look at him at impact. Like Adam Scott, he has his weight on his left side and he has his hands in front of the golf ball at impact. I now want to focus on how the right arm gets fully extended through impact and post-impact. You can see how straight that right arm is as he reaches and stretches and extends that arm. As we follow your post-impact position and right arm position, you'll see that your right arm starts to get tight and pulls in, and the right elbow never really gets fully extended through impact. And that causes the club to come in to the golf ball a little bit high. You're not getting that full arc sweeping through the golf ball, but you shorten the arc by bending that elbow through impact. Let's look at that right arm on the right. This is when we were doing those impact drills where you were focusing on really getting to that left side and you're just hitting little half swing shots. But let's watch this. I'm starting the swing where your left hand is about waist high right before impact. On the left was before the drills and on the right was with the drill. The first thing we notice that with the drill you definitely have moved your left side past that left ankle, so you're shifting much more weight on top of that left foot prior to impact, which is what you want to do. You want to arrive with more weight on the left than the right. Now let's take the swing on the left to impact and then swing on the right to impact. Let's continue the swing on the left to post-impact. This is where you had that bent arm position. Now the drill swing on the right, you keep that right arm very extended post-impact. Nice extension, reach, much better extended follow-through on the right. The purpose of the drill was to help you train the movement to the left in your downswing. Now you didn't hit a lot of good shots, but you certainly hit some good shots. But the purpose of the drill was to work on the weight shift. The ball is just a tool while you work on that. Now we just scratched the surface of this particular fundamental. This is more an advanced fundamental, but a very important fundamental that you need to work on at this point in your swing. So the next time we work together, we'll work on this backswing where you're turning the hips and you're not letting your hips slide. And the downswing move will be to move to the left and extend that right arm through impact.